Ipswich Town head north this weekend, looking to find the first win of the season at an unhappy hunting ground. And what's this? Talking about northern things. Look who finally decided to turn up for the first pre-match show of the season for him. Welcome to Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. Welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. This is the Prematch Show, Preston edition. And who is this I see to my left and my right? I always get my bearings a bit wrong. Welcome back. First appearance of the season. Seb Brown, where have you been?
Very, very sorry. Yeah, sack Seb for being disloyal, etc., etc. I did listen to the shows while I was away. I was driving across America. I was doing Route 66, but I did have Blue Monday on in the car and stuff, so I have been following everything. So kind of away, but not really away is how we'll go with it.
Do you want to tell the folks where you've been?
Yeah, I just said I did Route 66. I drove across America, which was excellent. And started in Chicago and ended up in California. And the exact moment Jay Stansfield opened the scoring at St Andrews, it was about midday my time, I think. I was at a T-junction, and I was so annoyed, I went into complete autopilot mode and turned left into 3 lanes of oncoming traffic. Thankfully, there was a hard shoulder,
tourists.
So I could bin the car off very quickly and then work out how I was going to get across 6 lanes to get back to where I needed to go. So, yeah, bloody Jay Stansfield annoying me from 3,500 miles away, but there we go. But yes, I am back. The research is back to normal after your sterling effort last week. Well done. Mikey did an excellent job as host, but I do feel that the contributor last week was severely lacking. So don't worry, folks. Normal service.
Unbelievable. He's come back swinging, folks. I don't believe it. Let us know if you're in the chat. We can see a lot of you there. Hi to Rob. He says, good to see the dream team reunited. Not for us to say, really. Let's have a good one. Richard said, piling the pressure on you there, Seb, with Preston Research. Good to see Neil with us. He's trying to manifest a signing. We will talk about signings before we talk about anything else. It feels like that's all everyone's talking about. But we do have a game coming up. Football is back, and Charlie D's feeling confident. First win coming up, he says, evening to Seabass. And Amanda's with us too. Good to see you, everyone. Should we talk about Trent? Let me chuck some names at you before we talk about how we're feeling about this situation, because it's not going as everyone hoped. But maybe there's a little bit of catastrophizing, spiraling going on. So Casey McAteer has been linked today from Leicester. There's chat about Luke Wolfenden leaving too. Coventry have had a bid rejected. And Kieran McKenna talking a little bit cryptically about sometimes there's other stuff afoot that we can't control. We've got to do right by these guys, which feels nice. But with players not coming in as quickly as we like, do we really want to go down that route again? Lewis Miley, that's a deal that's not going to happen. And I was shocked that we were even in the running for him, but maybe shows the level of ambition we have, which is a good thing or a bad thing. Not for me to say. And yeah, this wonderkind from Northland, Sindre Vele Egli, for 17.2 million is the number linked, but not agreed yet. So there are, to quote Jim Magilton, irons in the fire, Seb. But the mood is not positive. Can you, given you've not been, engrossed in the Telegram chat and rumour mongering on X, can you give us your more rational take on things?
I think Joe said it several times on various pods over the last few weeks. This is life as a parachute club, and it's something we've not experienced. Therefore, it's new to us all, and people will always regulate emotions in different ways. Is it going to plan this summer? No. Have the club maybe made things a bit worse by talking about, we were relegated, at least we can start planning and we're not in the mood to mess around, all that kind of stuff? Yes, perhaps. Some of the names, losing Delap was always going to happen. Amari Hutchinson, we sat here, I think even after it was rumoured he was going to stay, and I think I said I'm still 75% sure he will move on. I think that was one we all knew would eventually happen. Morsey was the kind of a shock one, I guess. Broadhead's a fan favourite. So I can totally understand the emotion when you see these players that we've got massive attachment to for the last couple of years walk out the door. We haven't got any real link to the players who've kind of were here last season because the season didn't go great. And some of the names, yes, are a little bit underwhelming. Casey McAteer linked today. He's a favourite for that right wing spot. Obviously, you've got Ogbene, you've got Burns there. Hutchinson played there at times in both the promotion season and last year. I've seen a lot of people say, I think someone in the chat's mentioned, maybe an underwhelming signing. Potentially, possibly, yes. But, I think the article also says that we have various options that we are looking at. And it's very difficult to get too high or too low, I think, until that window is closed, because we just don't know. We know the vast majority of business always gets done in the final week or so of the window. It's a bank holiday Monday, and then it's basically, was it 7 days where it'll go hell for leather. And then when that window closes at 7 p.m, whatever it is, 9 p.m. on the 1st of September, we can see exactly where we are. And that is the time to take stock. And that, I think, is the time, obviously, to either hold people to account and say it's not gone wrong, or be happy with what we've got and look to go positively in the future. McKenna's kind of spoken recently about the need for the fans to come together and unite in the stadium last week against Southampton, and it'll be important to do the same thing against Preston. And yeah, it's not gone to plan, but it's not a disaster yet. If the window closes now, 6 minutes ago, 8 p.m. tonight, then we sit here and go, right, that's pretty bad. Let's see what we've got. But the squad, I think, will be in a much more positive place in 7 days' time, whatever it is, or 10 days' time, with a few extra signings through the door, hopefully. So, yes, I understand the emotion, but we're not at the end game yet, folks.
Yeah, and whilst I of all people appreciate some pragmatism when it comes to transfer panto, which I hate, there are some people making some good points in the chat. Joe, for example, here, Hackney Beard baffling when he didn't want to come. We talked about Lewis Miley as well. Have we learned our lessons, Seb? Because there's been a few transfer windows in a row where a striker was needed and deals didn't get done, and all we had as backup was Ali Al-Hamidi, and we don't even have him now because he's got a medium-term injury. What, I guess, from the outside, and we're always speculating here, is it a case of the club quite understandably trying to set their standards high because our aspiration is the tier above, and just being let down? Or is there something else here at play that, maybe we are holding ourselves to a single target when we should? I guess all the rumors suggest that maybe we are spreading the net a little bit wider, but it does feel like we're seeing some mistakes repeated from last summer and maybe windows in the past. So in that respect, I know you've said wait till the window is done, but here and now, you can understand a little bit of nervousness from the fan base. Can you not? I can
understand it, but yeah, I can understand. I can understand the emotion. I can understand some of the frustration. I just don't think we're in a position to judge it yet because things are still ongoing. And you've got to remember, is it fair to say that we are the most attractive club to come to in the Championship this season? Potentially, we're more stable than the other two parachute clubs with Leicester's issues and obviously starting a new manager. So we will set ourselves high targets. And when you do that, especially when you're dealing with Premier League sides who like to hold on to people until they know exactly where they're going to be at the end of the window, that does have inevitable consequences. I mean, I was amazed we were in for Lewis Miley. I didn't think we'd have a hope in hell of getting him. He kind of fits that scary signing kind of thing that we were rumoured to be looking at the start of the window. I didn't think we'd have a chance, especially with Newcastle's extra games in the Champions League. Hayden Hackney is frustrating, but these things might not be dead. We might be going back in. He might want to keep his options open for a few weeks and we might go back in the end of the window. So, yeah, I get the frustration. I understand what you're saying about it's maybe the fourth or fifth window in a row where it goes to the wire and we struggle to get first choice targets and we have to make no disrespect, a Ghassan Ahadme type signing on deadline day to try and just get extra squad players in. I don't think that'll be the case this time, hopefully. But the level of player we are going for, I think it's not straightforward. People wouldn't be happy, let's say, if we signed 5 average players who contributed very little across the season. They might be happy because the squad's a bit filler, but I'd rather wait and get maybe 2 top quality ones who can really improve the squad and really look to take us up to the next level. And I think with that level of target, you have to be patient.
Yeah, well, hopefully this stuff gets done. I've been at pains to kind of explain. There was interesting. There was a video posted of John Gregory talking about Dwight York defecting to Man United in 1997, and I remember that transfer deal being a huge deal and a lot of drama around it. It played out mostly in the media, as in the papers, and because there was no social media, you had CFAX. Maybe there's a shout out for people of a certain age. Tell your kids about CFAX, but it was every day something was added to the story, or it wasn't like every minute something was happening, or someone else reports it, or we understand this. And I think that need for constant churn on social media and certain media outlets to talk about transfers, I don't particularly like, but it also, I think fans don't really understand that situation and maybe buy too much into it. And I think the other thing we forget in the modern era is that a lot of the deals that are put out there in the news or out there in the media are not necessarily true. They're there to flesh out interest from other parties or to alert other clubs that a player is available or something like that. And we kind of see a link and get really excited about it. And my barometer over the last few weeks, Seb, is if Phil TWTD posts about it, then generally I think there's some validity to the story. So I would go with that, folks, if you're struggling a little bit to make sense of it. And Seb's advice is sound, but we're 2 weeks away from knowing whether the window is good or bad. So right now, I think just try and take it easy and let's hope for the best. Let's not worry about what we can't control.
Control the controllables.
Save the recriminations until the end of the window, and then we can all boo and hiss. But the squad's still solid enough, and we'll talk about, our prospects having got out of 2 really tricky games so far. We'll ignore League Cup because League Cup doesn't matter. But yeah, we'll see what Preston brings, and injuries are improving too. So there's the transfer chat. Very briefly, I want to say hello to Colin, who's in the chat. Good evening, Rich and Seb, he says. Good evening, Colin. Great to have you with us. A lot of people pleased to see you back. Hope you are well. Great to see you here. So thank you for joining us. And hope you're recovering well. Final thing in terms of news that I wanted to flag from a very selfish personal perspective, ITFC women's season is a couple of weeks away. Season tickets are available. Very competitively priced, if I do say so myself. I don't know why I'm saying that. I've not come up with the price structure. I'm nothing to do with it at all. But as a football supporter, I think they're reasonably priced, at least for adults. And also the first 5 league games are on sale too, if you just want to pay as you go. The website to buy tickets this season for the women's team is ITFC Women, all one word, .colchesterstadium.com, because we're playing at Cole U Stadium, the job serve community, whatever it is. So that's the website to head to buy your season tickets or your match day tickets as one-offs. Also, the Women's Official Supporters Club, who you can find on socials at ITFC WOSC, are doing a supporters coach for the Southampton away game, which is the game that opens the season. So if you're interested in away travel for the Southampton game to kick the season off and want to get behind the girls on the road, go and chat to the WOSC and they will sort you out. So Preston, Seb, a lot of chat about Preston that I'm trying to rewind and put up on the screen. A lot of people mentioning Mustafa Carriel, the Mustafa Carriel Memorial game. More about that later on, I'm sure. But you're the northern correspondent, at least of the podcast team. What's your sentiment around Preston?
Well, when we did our 1-24s earlier in the summer, I had them staying up but struggling. They had an awful end to last season. I think it was 1 win in the last 13. They plummeted down the table, finished 1 point above the drop zone, and had the season gone on for another 2-3 weeks, they might well have been relegated because they couldn't get themselves going at all. So I kind of thought they're going to go into this season more of the same, but I know we're only 2 games in. It's a massive, massive caveat, but they have started pretty decently. We'll discuss how they're getting on so far and how they're doing, but yeah, they have started well, and Deepdale is both somewhere they don't lose many games, and it's not the most happy hunting grounds for us. So we'll discuss that as well. But before we do that, I've got a new feature that I am going to throw at you.
It's coming back. He feels like he needs to make a contribution, folks. So let's hear him out. Come on, Seb. What have you got for us?
Before we go into the general state of play like we will every week, we're going to have a new feature where I can make you squirm and embarrass you live on air like I like to do. We're going to do a played for both quiz. Now, we need a name for this. So in the chat, if you're creative, because I haven't got a creative bone in my body, if you can think of a witty title for this section of the pre-match show, which is basically going to be, I'm going to ask him 5 questions that get progressively easier, and he has to try and come up with a player that's played for both Ipswich and whoever the opposition are going to be on the pre-match show that week. If he doesn't get it by the 5th one, he's embarrassing and shouldn't really call himself an Ipswich Town fan, but there we go. So if you are a creative person, please get your thoughts in the
forfeit
chat.
T-shirt, by the way. What's gone on there?
Yeah, brilliant. That came up on Telegram earlier. I did completely forget, so there will be a forfeit T-shirt for him. I've just forgotten, I'll be honest.
There is 2 options already. Hello to Anthony, who's with us, who's joined as a member, by the way. We'll talk more about that later on. Thank you, Anthony, for getting involved in that. But he's suggesting home and away. But how about this from Neil? Hashtag bit of both.
Oh, he's nailed it. Neil's nailed it. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I feel like this
we have to
feature's
pay
been
David
stolen.
Diamond royalties every time we mention it, though.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah.
Can we afford that?
I like that. That's the best one so far, Neil. But I feel like this format has been stolen from somewhere. We were talking about this before.
I can't think where I've nicked it from, but I've definitely nicked it from somewhere.
So we'll go with it. And yeah, another excuse for me to be I mean, Rob is making a good point. Forfeit must have expired by now. We're nearly 3 weeks into the season, Rob, aren't we? And it's just not good enough, is it? But anyway, countdown to shame. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, that's probably right. That's the unofficial title in Seb's mind.
Right.
Anyway.
Here we go. So 5 questions getting progressively easier. This player played for both Ipswich and for Preston. Question 1. Made 32 appearances for Ipswich, scoring 10 goals.
Oh, wow. I need to hide the chat, don't I? Because otherwise someone's going to get it.
Get involved in the chat, but he'll hide it so you don't cheat.
32 appearances, 10 goals. So 1 season wonder. I mean, not Will Keane. I've got to chuck Will Keane in there just for mullet. No.
Question 2. Played 129 times for Preston, scoring 49 goals.
Ricardo.
That's what the people want to see.
Not Ricardo Fuller, is it?
No. Number 3. Signed for Ipswich from Rangers for a rumoured £1 million. I thought you'd get it with that one.
Joe Garner.
Joe Garner, yeah, well done.
I was thinking, is it Waghorn or Garner? But it's not. It's Garner.
No, yeah.
Got there. Did anyone get it in less than 3? Oh, here we go. Joe Garner. Well, blimey. Who got there? We need to get what question you got it on, because that's... but we've got some Will Keane shouts in there like me, but Phil, I think, is the first. I think
Phil and Neil got it straight away, and Colin, they all got it straight away.
Garner, Colin's in there, Sean's in it, Garns. Yeah, Phil made the same kind of similar thought process that I had. Number 3 is a bit of a giveaway. Come on, Aaron, give me a like, give me a break, mate. I'm a bit dumb. I've got to press buttons as well, so that's why. But yeah, more about Joey Garner later on, I'm sure. But there you go. There's our new feature at the moment. Working title. Hashtag bit of both. Lovely stuff. And more names from Ipswich Town history to come later on. Not a bad start, though, Seb. We all talked about struggles. We'll talk more about spending power, but actually not too bad a start and a good time out for them last week.
Yeah, very much so. So they're currently 9th on 4 points, played 2, 1-1, drawn 1, haven't lost yet, scored 3 goals, conceded 2. It was a 1-1 draw away at QPR on the opening weekend of the season, and then a pretty impressive 2-1 victory over Leicester last time out at Deepdale. A very late kind of goal coming there. But yeah, they have started pretty well. I mean, if you'd have said a point away at a QPR, I've seen mentioned as dark horses in some places, so that's a difficult potential point to go and get, and then to play one of the parachute payment sides early on in the season. Okay, they've got their issues, but still, that's a pretty impressive display and performance and result, given how they were struggling at the back end of last season. And it's all going pretty well. You know, I've mentioned earlier, Deepdale is a difficult place for teams to go and win. They draw an awful lot of games there. Last season, they drew 12 games at home and only lost 4. So it is a difficult place to go. And I guess the best chance they've got of not being dragged into a kind of another relegation scrap is to turn it into a bit of a fortress and pick up points where they can. And yeah, I guess their aim for this season will simply be to avoid a repeat of the last 2 years, where towards the end, they have absolutely dropped off a cliff. The year we went up, they were flirting with the playoffs. I don't think they were ever going to make it, but 1 win in 8 at the end of that season saw them tail right off. Last season, the horror run kind of started in March, February time and went all the way to the end of the year. So important for them, they can just kind of have a bit of consolidation this year. Dare I say it, a boring season where they might just finish 15th, 14th, 13th or something, get themselves to 60 points and then look to build again for the future, because the one thing they can't have is a 3rd successive year of complete drop off, because it might well catch up with them. Yeah,
we'll talk more about Deepdale being a fortress. I mentioned it in the intro, didn't I, too? Not a fun place for teams to go, at least in our history. And last time out, we got beat there as well, didn't we? Pretty lousy day from all accounts, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Anything more that you want to kind of talk to us about from the Leicester game?
Just it was well deserved. So 2-1 victory, early opener from the Spurs loanee Alfie Devine kind of burst down the right hand side. It's a really good finish. He's almost at the kind of the corner flag. Keeper comes rushing out, the Leicester keeper. It's a rush of blood, but Devine's got that Premier League quality. He's on loan from Spurs, got that Premier League quality where he just kind of can finish right into the side nettings from about 20 yards out on the angle. Jeremy Monga, was he 15 last season in the Premier League, and he can't have the betting on the front of his shirt. He got the equaliser, and then it was an 85th minute winner from Mulatin Osmajic, the striker. 40% possession, 14 shots, 4 on target, 3 big chances created. They created more big chances than Leicester. I think what was quite noticeable from the highlights and reading the game, it was long balls into the channels behind the fullbacks that saw them create their best opportunities. Both their goals came from wide positions. And so I think that might be an avenue they look to exploit against us. But we'll discuss with Tactical Pad how we think they're going to play, etc. But I don't think that can be sniffed at. A 2-1 victory over Leicester. I know I've said they've got their issues going on at Leicester, but that's still a pretty impressive result, I think. And they've started the season well, and that will give them confidence.
Definitely will, yeah. A little bit of managerial churn in recent times. Talk to us about the man in the dugout right now.
Yeah, so it was Ryan Lowe, wasn't it? And then he had one game last year, lost against Sheffield United, and they promptly sacked him and replaced him with Paul Heckingbottom, who most of us will know from Sheffield United. He took them up, didn't he, in 22-23, was it? The year we got promoted out of League One, but then got fired and replaced by Chris Wilder when they were rock bottom of the Premier League at Christmas time. He's managed 48 games there, only been in charge for 1 year, managed 48 games, won 11, drawn 21, lost 16, 1.17 points per game, which gets you 54 across a season. So it gets you kind of 3-4 points maybe over the kind of the relegation zone. So they do need to look to improve on that. Previous managerial spells at Barnsley, Leeds very briefly, and Hibs. Playing career as a defender for 13 clubs, mainly across the Championship and League One. And he's made some comments this summer, and I just don't know. I see Preston a bit like we were kind of 2016-17, where the money's dried up, they're stagnating, they're falling down the league each season. The manager's starting to come out with a few things. He's made some comments about having no money to work with, saying the money's all gone. He's made these comments about Daniel Jebinson, the lone striker they've got from Bournemouth, had an injury working with a third party. You know, you see these body alignment coaches and specialists, they all work with and put all over their Instagrams. He's banned that because a players got injured, and he's had a bit of a rant saying, you know, they injure our players and we don't get anything back for it, etc. So he just doesn't seem to come across that happy, potentially, maybe. You know, the fans are still with him, even given that the awful run they went on. They kind of realised that it's more of a club issue than a managerial issue, and he's doing okay given what he's got to work with. But he just doesn't seem that happy, and I wouldn't be that surprised if maybe he's one of the early managers to go for the season, given that he is prone to a bit of a rant in the media.
Well, good coach, though. You know, good pedigree, being an assistant and quite a senior member of backroom teams before he got the managerial gigs. Is he not right on this Jebison situation, though?
Yeah, I think he is. But do you come out and say it in the media, or do you just do a ban for your playing staff and keep it in house? You know, he's right. They have to pay the third-party coaches and professionals, and when they injure a player, there's no comeback on it, there's no accountability, they don't get paid or any compensation for it. So yeah, he's right. I'm just not sure that ranting about it in the media is necessarily the best thing to do. Maybe just keep your powder dry, deal with it behind closed doors, and move on with the situation.
Maybe. I thought interesting observation, to be honest, but Sean here, he's from Yorkshire, then never happy. Sean said that. Direct your feedback to Sean there. Thank you for getting involved. Let's talk about this history, Seb. Not terrible, but not good, is it?
It's close overall. So 14 wins for Town, 11 draws between the two, 15 wins for Preston. The last time we went there, February 2024, I remember going there full of confidence. I thought we were going to batter them that day.
Did you slag off Wilkeen in the pre-match before that one?
Yeah, probably did.
Yeah. I think we both did, probably. Yeah,
probably did. 3-2 defeat, 2-0 down after 8 minutes. George Edmondson own goal and Wilkeen. And was it the second goal or the third goal? We messed up playing out from the back, didn't we? Clacky found Morsey and he slipped or something and they scored it. So we're 3-0 down at half-time. Half-time substitute, Kiefer Moore comes on, immediately adds some physicality to our front line, scores twice, but not enough. I remember Clacky getting away with a double hand ball, if I remember rightly, towards the end of the game as well. So, yeah, just a weird game. I think the ref actually did come out and apologise afterwards, saying at least one of the Preston goals, there was a foul in the build. That might have been the first
Wasn't there a stupid offside for one of them too, though?
I think there was the third one. I think that's the one where Will
McKenna said that he got an apology for that. A few mistakes that day.
a frustrating day. I thought we would get the 3 points that day, but frustrating. You and me were there for the 4-0 defeat. Do you remember that on Easter Sunday, just after relegation?
Yeah, we got a food voucher, didn't we? And
did we?
And they didn't have any food.
Brilliant.
I seem to remember that. Yeah, nice warm day though, lovely. And then 4-0.
And then obviously the last time we won there, it's been referenced in the chat already, the Mustafa Carriol channeling his inner Lionel Messi for 45 minutes, scored for us, promptly subbed off at halftime with the trots, and barely appeared for us ever again and featured ever again. But we did get the win that day, a 1-0 victory up at Deepdale in February 2018. So haven't won there for 7 years. The overall record is pretty close, but the last time we went there was a bit of a mess.
So you're telling me there's a chance. There's the first one of the season of
there
that. And we are going to expand. We know you love this feature. So we are going to expand this. It's our new kind of competitive face-off feature. We are going to expand the lineup quiz. Again, any names welcome for this. Otherwise, we'll just stick with the lineup quiz, which frankly does the job, doesn't it? So I'm going to pitch it to you first, Seb. Okay. Apart from Mustafa Carriol, how many other players from that starting lineup on that day can you remember? And hide the chat if you're secretly looking at it right now. And I can give you some clues if you want.
Right. So let's think. So it's Mick McCarthy and it's the 17-8. So Joe Garner.
Yep, there he is.
Carriol, obviously. Wycorn.
Yep.
Bart. Chambers, Scouse.
Yep.
Struggling now. Knudsen.
Yep.
Grant Ward. You always used to forget Grant Ward, and he was always the name that you could never remember him. On the bench, right? Okay. Struggling now. What am I missing? I'm missing
a right back. Never gave the ball away. In midfield. Yes.
Okay. Dominic Iolfer is the right back then.
Yeah, and Callum Connolly is in midfield. Cultured centre back.
Tommy Smith.
More cultured than Tommy Smith.
Oh, Adam Webster.
Yep. And another loanee, I think at Celtic now. Via Spurs.
Oh.
American international, I think.
Oh, Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Cameron Carter-Vickers was in there. Correct. Yeah, good going there.
Okay.
We got some Knudsen shouts, some incorrect Barra shout, I'm afraid. We did get a correct Chambers from Shabby McNally.
I think I just named about 6 defenders. What was the formation?
Yeah, I'm going with Connolly. I know you're right. So probably it was a back 3, wasn't it? It'd be Knudsen, Chambers, and Webster with Carter-Vickers on the left and Iolfer on the right, and Connolly and Scouse in centre mid.
Creativity.
Maybe. And another. Yeah, great. I couldn't tell you that formation. There you go. And now it's Seb's turn to flip it around. What era? What grade? Are you going for the 15-16 game?
No, I'm going back further. We do have a rule on this for the chat. So this has to be in the last 25 years. It has to be since the 2000 promotion season. I'm not sure what we'll do for the Wrexham game, but we'll work that out. So I've gone for February 2005, the year we finished obviously 3rd and lost to West Ham in the playoffs at the end of the season. We drew 1-1 there.
Yep.
I want to be the goal scorer because one of the players, obviously.
Yep.
And it looks to me to be a good old-fashioned 4-4-2.
4-4-2. So I think this is the Friday night game on Sky where Tommy Miller scored.
He did, yeah.
Got the ball under the keeper, probably should have saved it. And this is where Scoey has come back because Cucci's been injured at Wigan, isn't it?
I didn't think you'd get that. Yeah, Scocroft.
Yeah, I remember this game as bits of it. Okay. I think there's quite a few loanies there. I'm struggling on the goalkeeper, I won't lie. Is it Davis?
Yeah, Kelvin Davis.
And is there a David Unsworth or a Matt Elliott in there?
Yeah, David Unsworth. Yeah, Elliott was the season before, but Unsworth is the left back. Yep.
Yeah.
Now the right back and the 2 centre halves who were pretty much mainstays of that season.
Vilnius.
Yep, right back.
Does he bomb on? I think he gets done for the goal, maybe if I remember rightly. And centre backs for that era, I'm really struggling with.
It was a regular partnership for the entire season.
It's been a while since I've thought about the 05 team. Blimey.
One was a striker converted to a centre half.
Naylor is in there with DeVos.
There you go. Yeah.
And so was Westlake in midfield?
Yep. So you need the right winger, Miller's central midfield partner, and the other striker.
Is Jermaine Wright?
No, he's gone. He went the summer before.
Right winger. I might need some clues.
The world's slowest winger.
Well, that's not helped me either.
Lovely technical player, but
Darren Curry. Darren Curry.
Yeah. So you need the other midfield partner for Miller. It's not who you think it might be. I'm surprised you haven't said Magilton. It's not Magilton.
No, I wouldn't.
Signed from West Ham, I think. Did 1 year.
Corlock.
2 years. Yeah, Horlock.
Nice.
And then the top scorer that season, joint top scorer with Cucci alongside James.
Yeah, nice. Darren Bent.
Yeah.
Lovely. How do we get on in the chat? We got a Bent straight from the excuse me, Neil, for saying it that way. We got a Miller, correct. Coochie, no. And Richards, no either. Got a Naylor, got a JDV from another Neil. Shabby, I'm clueless. Welcome to the club, mate. Neil Curry got in there too. Good stuff. Yeah, so I think you probably were better at that one than I was. We'll give that a 1-0 to Seb, but we won't. It's just for fun. We got some feedback that the FPL feature maybe wasn't for everyone, so we will not be bringing that nor the competitive element. It's just for fun. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back to talk more about Preston in a second.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
So I said, moving on to transfer business, let's bring things right up to date. Talk to us about, we've mentioned the spending power severely weakened there over time. And you will explain a little bit why that might be the case in a second. But I guess some decent pedigree brought in on loan, but there's a 1.5 million spent there, which is half decent, but yeah, it doesn't scream a bit of recruitment to go on a promotion push, for example, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, journeyman, I think, is how you probably describe some of the signings that have come in. They've had 10 arrivals in total. Only one has had a fee paid for it. They signed a right back from Brighton, Odaluga Ofaya, 1.5 million quid they've spent on him. The rest of it, Daniel Everson's coming in goal from Leicester. Jordan Thompson, a central midfielder from Stoke. These are kind of the key ones. Thierry Small, more about him later. A left wing back / left back free from Charlton. Michael Smith was one of the Sheffield Wednesday players who terminated his contract. If you remember him going round Walton at Portman Road in the 2-2 draw and not being able to finish a sliding doors moment, it's him. He's still going in the Championship. He signed on a free, and they have got those two, like you mentioned, two quality Premier League loans. You've got Daniel Jebison from Bournemouth, and you've got Alfie Devine, the guy that scored last weekend against Leicester. They had a little bit of quality. Departures wise, they've just cleared out some of the squad players. Emil Rees has gone on a free to Bristol City.
You say that Rees and Woodman, I would argue, have value, do they not? Especially
they do,
Woodman.
but they let them expire. This is the problem they've got. They let them expire. I mean, Freddie Woodman, the goalkeeper, signed from Newcastle, I think, is now at Liverpool as one of their kind of, one of these fourth choice homegrown keepers that kind of ticks a box. So Ryan Ledson, central midfielder, has also gone to Huddersfield on a free. And this is the problem they have. Since selling Callum Robinson in 2019, was it for 8 million quid to Sheffield United? Was it maybe? They haven't traded anything of note, and that's what's finally caught up with them. I mean, Henkin-Bottom's come out in the press. He said the money's gone. There's no money. They were linked with 7-figure bids for the likes of Richard Kone, who went to QPR, to Callum Lang, who I think went to Portsmouth at the end of the deal, from Wigan or something. And he's just come out and said, we can't do these kind of deals. We can structure deals, but the money isn't there to spend. And I guess when you're a side like Preston, if you can't get your player trading model, God, that sounds very buzzword bingo, doesn't it? But when you can't get your player trading strategy correct, what else can you do? Because you're limited by your gate receipts, etc. There's never much television money when you're not competing at the top of the league. So they need to find a way to flip some of these players and start making money off them again and look to reinvest it better. I guess, you could argue the likes of Will Keane, Michael Smith, Ben Whiteman, we'll discuss. They are all solid pros at this level, but they're going to have very, very little resale value. So they maybe need to look at how they can adapt that and improve moving forward.
Yeah, was Callum Robinson to Cardiff?
Was it Cardiff? I thought it was Sheffield United for some reason, but yeah, it was 7 million quid. But that was the last decent bit of business they did.
A long time ago. Welcome back to the tactical pad. We're going to talk through style of play and system. Should I put that up on the screen, Seb?
Yeah, stick it on the screen. So it's a bit. I mean, last year everything was 4-2-3-1, wasn't it? At least we got a bit of variation so far this season. So it's a 3 at the back formation, but as you will see when I do the usual moving it forward malarkey, it does not stay at a 3 at the back for too long. So 3 strong centre halves. McKenna has mentioned today in the pre-match presser how physical and strong they are, and it's very much a solid 3 at the back. I think they're all either 6'1" or 6'2", and then 2 land of the Giants up front as well. Smith is 6'3", Osmajic is 6'1" or 6'2" again. So it's very much power and physicality at both the back and up front. If we move them forward like we always do to the average player positions, you will see it kind of shifts almost to a back four. It's very, very cluttered in the centre of the pitch, here in the centre circle. The front two kind of resemble a front two. Thierry Small, I mentioned earlier, the signing from Charlton, he pushes right up, and then it kind of becomes a back four with Paul Valentin, another Sheffield Wednesday ex-player they've signed, filling in at right back. I see a fairly big gap here between Jordan Storey and Lewis Gibson at the back, and Hughes kind of fills in for that gap that Small creates moving forward. If I then roll it forward again to where they touch the heat maps, where they touch the ball most, you can see huge areas of space, especially down this right-hand side. I mean, I understand it's a kind of a three at the back system, and therefore your width is provided by the fullback, but Valentin stays deep and narrow, and there's very little protection kind of in front of him. Smith is the focal point, clearly, from this graphic, as you can see. Ben Whiteman helps out and does some defensive duties. Thierry Small pushes way up, but I'm seeing huge areas of space down the right-hand side for Preston, which is where Leicester scored their goal. It was Monga cutting in, isolating Valentin, and then cutting in onto his right foot to score. That could be an area we look to exploit. And also big gaps in between the two centre-halves as well.
I was thinking Philogene and Davis. That could be a really good opportunity, couldn't it?
It's very much got that vibe, hasn't it? Looking at that space there, you're kind of thinking to yourself, who can we get on the pitch to really look to exploit things? Ben Whiteman is kind of the midfield enforcer. He's the one that will sit in and kind of look to protect, to allow the likes of Alfie Devine to get further forward. But they are physical, they are direct, they are fourth highest for long balls per game so far, averaging 69 per game because of the strength they have up front.
And yeah, don't see much of the ball, as you say, as a result of that either. Attacking wise, pretty good. They're quite efficient, I would suggest.
Yeah, 6th for chance creation, 13 shots per game is 13th, so mid-table kind of numbers. 4 on target is 14th, again, mid-table numbers. Interestingly, all 3 of their goals this season have been scored on the counter-attack. So something to watch out for as well. We do like to get players forward, obviously, so it's important we don't get picked out. As I said in the earlier show, the game against Leicester, they look to hit the space in behind advanced fullbacks very quickly, so that'll be something we have to keep an eye on. Yeah,
and I guess we can't talk too much about shots on target because I think we've had 2 in our games so far. If you watched Beyond the Scoreline with Adam on Monday, that was quite an indictment of our attacking threat, but the green shoots are there, folks. Do you want to have a look at key players, Seb?
Yeah, pop tactical pad ups. I've done it slightly differently this year, so I'll highlight on the screen the players that I think might have an impact in the game. What I've done is, if I double click on these, you'll see a heat map pops up where a picture should be to give you an idea of where these players kind of feature. So Whiteman, we know Ben Whiteman loves a yellow card. He's kind of a tough tackling central midfielder. He'll provide the defensive screen and allow the more creative players to bomb forward. Alfie Devine, I've already discussed. He loves to get forward. Scored last weekend against Leicester. Has that bit of Premier League quality having come through, coming through at Spurs. He's from the Northwest originally, but having spent time in a Spurs kind of training environment, you can imagine how good his touch and awareness and stuff is. Thierry Small is a big threat. You'll see there on that heat map how much he loves to get forward. He's basically given free license to roam down that left-hand side, and he will provide danger if we don't get our right-sided kind of defensive responsibilities correct. And Osmajic is the current top scorer. He's got 2 goals, scored in both the QPR game and got the winner against Leicester last time out. He's powerful, he's strong, he's direct. He will be a threat for whoever our centre-halves are, O'Shane Greaves, presumably, to have to deal with.
And somewhat of a controversial character, if you want to Google him. But we talked about maybe the lack of spending power and the lack of business. I think he's got links to Serie A, 3 clubs in Serie A linked with Osmajic. So there's maybe some money coming in before the window closes. If those deals escalate, hopefully it'll accelerate in the next day or so. Maybe he doesn't get involved. He's not involved on Saturday, which would kind of be handy too, wouldn't it? Anyone of note that we're missing? I think Will Keane's probably a sad
shock. He's injured. What a shock. Yeah, so Brad Potts, Will Keane, Robbie Brady and Jordan Thompson, they're all due back at the end of August. So
Robbie
they
Brady,
might feature, they might be on the beach.
How old is Robbie Brady? Sorry to jump in.
Yeah, he must be 33, 34.
He was at Norwich for a bit. Was he big money at Norwich? I seem to remember.
Yeah, went to Burnley, didn't he? Was it Burnley he went to? Got a big money move. Yeah, they're all kind of doubts. They're due back end of August, early September, so a couple might feature on the bench maybe, but at the moment Will Keane is out, but he got about 3 goals last year, so he's not very good anyway. So
He's done it again, folks.
I know. I don't learn my lesson, do I? It's like when you slagged off Brennan Johnson and he should be in the crowd, didn't he, at Portman Road?
He should be in the crowd. I'd love to know that. I'd love to think that was true. Lovely stuff. That is Preston. If you've got any final thoughts about them or any insights, or if you're a Preston fan too, hopefully we've been even-handed about your team. If you've got any insights or any corrections, constructive criticism is always welcome. Put them in the chat, or if you're watching after the fact, stick them in the YouTube comments and let us know, because we're always interested to know more. As for what business on Blue Monday, thank you again to Atwells for their partnership for the podcast across all of our shows this season. And we're delighted that the One Stop Badges have decided to go exclusive with us here on the Prematch Show. And will you have badges with you, Seb, or are you all still run out?
Yeah, no, just assume not. And if it is, it's a positive if I do have any. So I'll look. I might have some in the car still.
I gave out a couple last week, so we still have a few available. So do find us. But thank you to One Stop Badges. There's a link for both Atwells if you're after if you've defamed Will Keane and you need some legal advice, or if you want a One Stop badge for your podcast or app of choice, then head down there. Blue Monday top tier. Thank you to everyone who's joined. I can see members like Streaky, like Neil, and thank you to Anthony who's joined tonight and become a member. Bonus content available all through the week. We've got blogs, we've got bonus shows. Part of our kind of regular run of shows, you'll see Beyond the Scoreline on Monday evening, which is a more tactical kind of, if you like the analysis that Seb is doing, it's like that, but even more data driven.
Much better.
You
could say it, yeah.
Yeah, proper analysts doing that. So they'll analyze the game after the fact, the weekend fixture. And then on Friday, in addition to this show, a little bit more of an irreverent look and also some insights as to where you can go and get a good pie or a good meetup destination. Join Henry and George for the weekend preview on a Friday. And then a scattering of content throughout the month. Blue Monday Rewind will be on there. I'll do some ITFC women's stuff. I'm sure we'll have other bits and pieces throughout the season, and all of that ad-free. There is a membership fee to get that. We think it's pretty reasonable at $5 a month, but hopefully just adds to all of the coverage for Ipswich Town this coming season, and we're really excited about it. And thank you to everyone who's got involved so far. But as always, these shows will be free to access. We're never going to change that. And the flagship show, we'll be back to talk about Preston after the fact too on Sunday night at the usual time. We'll get the expert views of Dave and Joe and Mikey hosting that one. So do join the guys live in the chat for that one. So what are we going to do about Preston, Seb? There's a few dilemmas for Kieran McKenna, aren't there?
Yeah, so it sounds like we've got a couple that are being tested after the Southampton game, and the fears that Sammy Szmodic may have broken his arm and had his arm amputated and was going to be out for the next 4 years seem to be unfounded. And presumably if he has got an injury, he'll just wear some sort of protective cast and might well still feature. So I've done my usual, what I think we might do, and let's have some discussion points around it, I guess. I think at this point, the keeper and the back four, it picks itself, doesn't it? I assume we'll have Palmer as the keeper, Ben Johnson, Dara O'Shea, Jacob Greaves, and Leif Davis will be the back four. I guess then the first talking point is who is going to partner Matasiwa in central midfield. I think Kayust might get a start. He won't play the 90. He never does. But I think he might well get a start, and we could look to have Jack Taylor coming off the bench. I mean, it's a fact. He doesn't. No one is safe. The poor guy hasn't had a pre-season, so it's not.
Do you want me to put your lineup up?
You might as well. I was trying filling while you didn't do it, so yeah, well done. So I think Kayust will come alongside Matasiwa to start on the weekend, and we'll see Jack Taylor come off the bench at some point in the second half. I also think we might see the return of Ogbene. Now, the reason I might think we might do that is because of the threat that Thierry Small poses down Preston's left, and I think Ogbene is probably better than Jack Clark off the ball. I would suggest potentially, and has the ability to push Thierry Small back. I didn't watch the Southampton game. It was 4 a.m. in California, so I didn't get up to watch it, but I've seen some stuff saying Jack Clark struggled a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised for Ogbene to come back in. Szmodic will stay in the 10, I think, with some sort of protective cast on his arm. Philogene on that left. If we can look to isolate Paul Valentin, that could be a real area of joy for us. And of course, George Hurst will be on the bench, and presumably we'll see Chuba Akpom on the bench as well as the relief for George Hurst at some point in the second half. So Kayust, Ogbene, I guess they're the two kind of discussion points from my lineup. What do you think we will do?
Yeah, I think there is a shout for Chaplin. Let us know your thoughts in the chat about this as well, because I think a lot of people on the flagship and a lot of people in Telegram as well have been mentioning, is it time for Chaplin? I'm of the view that Smodic gives you more. Chaplin has got that, we talked about the magic eye when it comes to Broadhead. Certainly Chaplin can make passes, spring people in behind that not a lot of people at the club can do. But I'm not sure that his energy matches Smodic when it comes to high press. And in terms of the goal threat, I know neither of them have scored yet, but I just feel like Smodic has got a better eye for goal right now. Chaplin's had a couple of goes. There was a shot which he probably should have got on target on Sunday, but dragged it wide. I don't know if that's a confidence thing or he's one of these players that just needs the ball to hit the net. And this is why it's so annoying the League Cup run has ended, because this is minutes, isn't it, for the likes of Chaplin? But I just think all round, Seb, assuming there's no gamble about his arm, and I'd love to see him in a Cantona-esque plaster cast like he wore, or the Jamie Vardy.
Didn't Vardy wear one for like 4 years?
Yeah, it became a thing for Vardy, didn't it? So that'd be quite cool to see. But I think at the moment on contribution, all-round contribution, I think Smodic is the pick. But give us your thoughts in the chat. I think Taylor starts rather than Kayusta as well. I just think it's a bit of a gamble for Kayusta, and I'd rather bring him on actually, rather than maybe start him and him to tail out of the game. And I agree with you on Ogbene, and I've been really consistent about trying to big up Jack Clark, and there's a player there, but maybe he needs to spell as a finisher too. Just the confidence isn't there. I really hoped that the ball had gone in off his arse or something on Sunday against Southampton, but it was an Oggy, and he just needs something to go right for him, similar to Chaplin, but even more so. So Ogbene, good second half cameo, good running behind that ball. I think it was it from Chaplin? I'm trying to remember. There was a one where Ogbene was sprung in crossfield pass. Maybe I'm trying to remember the situation, but got in behind there, and that could be a threat too. And as you say, Hurst was goosed at the end of it. So Akbom or someone to come in and give Hurst a bit of a break is absolutely necessary. Let's see what folk have got to say.
A lot of love for Ashley Young in the chat. Saying
Ashley Young, yeah,
and a couple
Joe.
of mentions also for Cedric Kipe. I've sat here for the last 20 minutes saying how physical Preston are, both with their centre halves and with their two strikers. Is there a chance, like we used to see sometimes in the promotion season, when Edmondson would appear, given the physicality requirements alongside Burgess, is there a chance that we see Kipe get his first start to provide that kind of rock at the back against a physical threat, maybe?
Yeah, well, do you want to deal with Ashley Young first? That would be at the expense of Ben Johnson, who I thought was pretty good last week.
Yeah, he seems to be getting better, doesn't he? Played left back against Bromley and got the goal, and seemed to come out with quite decent plaudits, and was good against. I didn't see that Southampton. Was he decent and solid enough against them?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess at this point the shirt is his to lose. I think Ashley Young will start a lot of games this season. I just think that if Ben Johnson's doing okay, there's no reason to change that one up. Kipre, do you think that there is a chance we might see him to combat some of the physicality?
Yeah, Amanda suggesting Kipre. I just think you've got to keep that centre back pairing as consistent as you absolutely can.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mixing things up a little bit, but again, if we are chasing a goal to get a point or hopefully more get a win, set piece danger, Ashley Young corner, keep Ray header. Don't put money on it, but you never know. Shabby making a great point. Smodic will be loved and admired by the residents of Preston, having scored plenty of goals for their friends up the road, down the road. What's the job?
And he will revel in that, won't he? He will love that. He will use that.
I think that's why you've got to put him in there. Yeah, Colin Keister, his quality. He's giving some love. Do you want to give us a quick? I mean, that's as much as we've kind of bemoaned the transfer business we've done. We have replaced our starting midfielders, and on paper, Matasiwa Keister looks like a great partnership with some experience, obviously from previous clubs. I'm trying to remember which club it was. Was it Reims?
Was it Rennes? They both played, or Reims? They both played for at the same time. Yeah. So yeah, under Will Still, wasn't it? I think. So great to get him back, obviously, and we just need to get him up to full fitness. Question marks. Obviously, I made a flippant comment about he never plays the 90 minutes. It's a relentless season. The midweek games will start after the international break at the start of September. So it's important that we manage him carefully. I presume that's why they're not going to rush him into it. I've just got a feeling he might make a start and give us an hour or so and look to get a commanding position before he is subbed off. So we'll have to wait and see at 1:45 on Saturday.
Suggestion from Trevor here would play Chaplin and Smodic and drop Clark. So move Smodic over to the...
Smodic goes to the left, I assume. So you'd have to, then Philogene on the right in that scenario, I assume. So
I think you've got to play
Chaplin
Philogene.
Centre.
I thought Philogene was great. In patches, he's still coming back from injury too. I thought Philogene would be a menace against Preston down that. If your heat maps and touch positions and all that kind of stuff are to be believed, and we can get 2v1 down that side, I'd want Philogene, absolutely the player in there. So
and him and Leif Davis showed some real understanding in pre-season, didn't they?
Combo there. Yeah. And again, I kind of feel like you just want to establish these covalent bonds, as our friend Harry from Off called them. And I just think you're crowbarring Chaplin at the team at the expense of Philogene and Smodic, really, who doesn't want to be. He can do a job there, but I don't think he wants to be there. But a lot of love for Chaplin and a lot of love for Ashley Young. But Shabby saying we don't drop anyone, we refresh. There you go. It's a good point. We horses for courses and all that kind of stuff. Neil Smodic was excellent last week. Has to start for me. Agree about Ogbene, looked good, looked sharp when he came on, said horse hollerer. Neil, if Young doesn't start Saturday, then when, Seb? Maybe the week.
The 3 games weeks are imminent, aren't they? So there'll be plenty of time for players to rotate and stuff. So it won't be long at all, I don't think. Yeah,
just the 8 miles between Deepdale and Ewood. So no love lost there. I'm sure Smodic can feature. Rob agreeing. Philogene has to play it on the left. Colin, Philogene will be brilliant come Christmas. Hopefully sooner than that, but does feel like someone who is building some momentum slowly but surely, and could have a really, hopefully a really impactful season, kind of like Omari 2 years ago. Wouldn't be great. So I think that's the thoughts. We will end with predictions. So get your match predictions in for Preston v Ipswich in the Championship on Saturday. I'll come to Seb in a second for here's just a reminder. We are brought to you in partnership with Atwells and One Stop Badges. Do join the guys tomorrow beyond the scoreline. That will be available Friday night. The flagship on Sunday, weekend preview on Monday. 2 of those shows on our top tier. Press the join button on our YouTube channel. There'll be blogs available too during the weekend as well. And then back to the usual routine next week. Seb and I will be back next week to talk about Derby, is it? I'm struggling to get the fixtures. Yeah, Derby it is.
And then an international break, just so we're getting going.
And we will no doubt talk about ITFC women in that international break too, given their season starts on that weekend. So there you go. Thank you everyone for joining us as well. We'll sign out in the usual way, but I'm padding so you can get your predictions in. Seb, tell me yours. Oh, no.
Head or heart? I will go with my heart. We're going to see our first win of the season. We're going to win 2-1. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. They do draw an awful lot of games at Deepdale. They don't lose many. They don't win that many, but they don't lose many. So my head said another 1-1 draw. But no, I think we'll win. 2-1 victory with at least one of our goals coming down our left/their right, because that's the area of opportunity. Let's say George Hurst to keep going, and let's say Philogene to bend one in, and then maybe they pull one back in the second half to make it a little bit nervy. But we will get across the line. We will get up and running, and we'll be on 5 points by 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, so now you've said that, I'm kind of feeling a 2-2. I've had 2-1-alls, predicted 1-1s for both the games so far, so I'm correcting that from. I do feel a 2-1. I think an Ipswich 2-1 is definitely there, but I think we underestimate Preston at our peril. Good for home form there, as we say, generally. Terrible history for us, but I do feel, and we know the games are not played on paper, but the quality of personnel there, I think, is more on the Ipswich side of things than maybe the Preston is. If Osmarich is distracted by a move to Serie A, that could work in our favour as well. So I think it's going to be close, but I agree with you. There's a little bit of an edge, I think, just for Ipswich, but it's an Ipswich Town podcast, Preston fans, so don't be too offended by that. Rob's in there first. Thanks, Rob. 2-0. First win incoming, he says. Neil's going for a 2-1 as well. Smodic and Akpom, kind of Kiefer Moore style off the bench. To get the points for Town. Reading Tractor's confident 3-0. He's predicting. Horse are also going for a 2-1. Come on, you Blues. He says you'll do that at the end, Seb. Just a reminder for you. No, is it me?
Yeah, you got it right last week. You did it last week and we drew 1-1. So we have to keep the tradition going.
Fair dues. Yep. Hurst to score 2-0, says Peter. Oh, Michael, blimey. 4-1 to Town or 2-2 or 1-0. You can't do that, Mike.
All bases covered.
That's
there
a hedging of bets if ever I saw one. No, you do what you like. Seabass is go for a 1-0 away win. That'll be a squeaky bum win. You'll love that, won't you, Seb? You in the away end, like a 5th-minute goal and then hang on for 85, Mick McCarthy style. Colin's gone for a 3-1. Philip's gone for a 2-1 Ipswich. Sean is here, same as last week, 2-1 for the Lily Whites. I think you said you are a northerner in the chat, Sean. Didn't pick up that you're a Preston fan. Thank you for joining us. And I assume you're a Preston fan or you're just predicting a Preston win, which is totally fair. Streaky's gone for a 3-1-2. Runaway Chris would love a win, but reckon 2 each. I know where you're coming from on that one. Rob going for a 0-0. Stephen also going for a 2-2. Trevor 2-1. We never keep a clean sheet. Hopefully time for Palmer to get a clean sheet too. Shabby going for a 2-2. But there you go. I think we'll leave it there at 55 minutes. Thank you everyone who's got involved in the chat. Rob reminding us that the forfeit must have expired. Thank you for joining in, Rob. And thank you everyone who's involved in the chat, giving us a prediction, try to guess who's played for both teams in our hashtag bit of both feature, who's got involved in the lineup quiz. Before you go, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Just to acknowledge Seb's research. He's jet lagged. He's not really watched proper football. He's been driving the wrong way in American traffic. So just for that reason alone, give us a thumbs up before you say goodbye. Please subscribe. And as we've mentioned, we won't labor it too much once we're into the season, proper and fully. But top tier, we're really proud of what's going on there. So please do join that and see what all the fuss is about. But thank you, Seb, for all your hard work. Thank you to everyone in the chat who's saying nice things as well. I'll put a few of those out. But you can say goodbye, and then I'll break everyone's eardrums by saying, come on, you please.
Yeah, you take us out. Thanks for hosting, mate. Good to be back. Enjoyed it. So we'll get back into our regular swing now. Any feedback anybody's got for the either the bit of both feature, the lineup feature, anything you want to see with Tactical Pad, please keep the feedback coming in, and hopefully see loads of you at that in the stand. It's the COP, isn't it? We get at Preston, I think. So hopefully see as many of you there as we can. I might not have badges. I'll try to remember, but please don't shout at me if I forget, because I normally do. And yeah, great to be back. And you can take us out, my friend.
Yeah, Colin, look after yourself. All of our thoughts, I'm sure, of everyone at Blue Monday, and certainly in the chat. Hope that recovery steps itself up when you can get back to watching the town, because I know that will make a big difference as well. But thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you everyone for getting involved. Great to see you. Great to have the familiar pairing back on the pre-match show, and we'll be back next week as always. And if you're traveling up to Preston, safe journey. Let us know if you're listening to this en route. And join the guys, as we say, for the weekend preview tomorrow. Hopefully this is where the season kicks into gear. Come on, you Blues!